The keys felt icy against my palm as I stood motionless in the entryway of my new colonial home on Maple Grove Lane in the quiet suburbs just outside Chicago. My home. The words still felt borrowed, like they belonged to someone braver than me. 6 months earlier, I had been the invisible daughter, the planner who somehow never made the guest list. My name is Ava Thompson, and a single late-night scroll on Christmas Eve shattered the illusion I had clung to for years. That Tuesday evening, after wrapping up client calls at Apex Advertising where I managed major accounts, I settled into my old cramped apartment for some mindless phone time before sleep. My thumb froze over my sister Brooke's latest post. The entire family was gathered around the glowing Christmas tree in our childhood living room. Mom's silver hair caught the soft morning light as she smiled radiantly. Dad leaned in, whispering something that made her laugh. My brother Ryan stood proudly with his wife and 2 kids in matching festive pajamas. Brooke, 29 and glowing, showed off an elegant new bracelet. The caption read, "Best Christmas ever with a fam." So grateful for these people. Something inside me cracked wide open at those words. At 32, I hadn't been invited to a family holiday in 6 full years. Not Christmas, not Thanksgiving, not birthdays or summer barbecues where families are meant to reconnect. The bitter truth was that I used to be the family's organizer. I coordinated menus weeks ahead, ensured Mom had all the ingredients for her special recipes, reminded everyone of dates. I was the glue holding it together until, without explanation, I became the outsider. At first, I convinced myself it was an oversight. Families get busy. I'd show up anyway, met with awkward welcomes that made my skin crawl. Then the pattern grew clear. Calls to Mom about plans brought vague replies. "We're keeping things small this year," her voice strained. Or, "We thought you might be busy." As if my schedule had magically filled for 6 years. Social media later revealed full gatherings with cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone beaming with belonging except me. The deepest wound came 4 years ago on Mother's Day. I called Mom 3 days prior. Excited. "I'd love to bring flowers and spend the day with you." Long silence followed. "Okay. Come by if you want," she said reluctantly. I bought expensive white roses, wore the dress she once admired, and drove 45 minutes filled with hope. The house was empty. I rang the doorbell desperately for 15 minutes. Calls to everyone went unanswered. I waited on the porch as spring wind rustled the roses in my trembling hands, imagining an emergency. I drove home in a daze, placed the roses in a vase, and waited for an explanation. Hours later, Brooke posted photos of the family at an upscale brunch downtown, Mom wearing a corsage from someone else. They had planned it all without me. That moment killed my hope. I stopped initiating. I sent polite birthday texts out of habit, but asked nothing about gatherings. My absence went unnoticed. They never called wondering where I was. Even my own birthday each September passed in silence. Ryan's March birthday meant big dinners. Brooke's July pool parties were legendary. Mom's February and Dad's November events were sacred. Mine? Nothing. Last year on my 31st, a Saturday, I waited all day. By evening, I ate takeout alone, convincing myself it didn't hurt. At 10, Brooke texted, "Sorry. Happy belated. Work's crazy." Work on a Saturday night. Staring at that Christmas post, clarity washed over me. I didn't need to chase people who erased me. I called my college friend Sarah, a realtor. "I'm ready to buy a house. My savings, built from skipping family trips and gifts, surprised even me. Their indifference funded my freedom." Sarah found the perfect place, a blue colonial with sun-filled rooms, granite kitchen, 2 bedrooms, stone patio. fully furnished and move-in ready. I offered that afternoon. It was accepted days later. 5 weeks after the decision. I held those keys in my new home. Sunlight warmed hardwood floors. The kitchen gleamed. The backyard patio invited quiet mornings. It wasn't just walls. It was the start of a life I chose. 2 weeks after moving, I hosted a housewarming. I invited college friends, work colleagues, neighbors, my cousin Elena and Aunt Valerie, people who truly saw me. No invite went to Mom, Dad, Ryan, or Brooke. The house filled with genuine laughter and conversation. Uncle Ray brought his potato salad. Colleague Jenna brought wine. Neighbor Lisa invited me to her book club. Around 4, Aunt Valerie pulled me aside. Beautiful party, Ava. But where are your parents and siblings? I met her eyes steadily. I didn't invite them. For 6 years. They haven't included me in holidays. So I returned the favor. Her shock was visible. Mouth open, eyes wide. I had no idea. By the next day, the family network would know the truth. The party lasted until 8. Alone afterward on my couch, peace settled over me for the first time in years. 3 days later, notifications flooded in. Mom, Dad, Ryan, Brooke calling and texting angrily. They weren't sorry for the pain, but humiliated that relatives now questioned them. The aggressive knock startled me on Saturday morning as I sipped coffee on my patio watching the neighborhood stir. Through the peephole, my stomach dropped. All 4 stood there, Mom, Dad, Ryan, and Brooke. Faces etched with indignation. I opened the door slowly. What do you need? Mom pushed past without waiting. The others following like they owned the place. What do you think you're doing? I asked, but they spread out inspecting my home. Ryan ran a hand over the kitchen counter judgmentally. Brooke wandered the living room, eyes cataloging my decor. Nice place, she said, tone dripping condescension. Mom launched in. How could you embarrass us like this? Valerie has been calling nonstop. Relatives are asking why we treat our kids differently. Dad nodded vigorously. You need to call everyone and say you were exaggerating. Tell them we're a close family. I stared at these blood relatives who felt like strangers. Why haven't you invited me to anything for 6 years? Silence choked the room. Mom's mouth opened and closed wordlessly. Dad studied the floor. Brooke flopped onto my couch entitledly. How'd you afford this? Must have cost a lot. If you cared about my life, you'd know I've been senior account manager at Apex Advertising for 3 years with good pay. Mom deflected. You never told us about your promotion. How are we supposed to know? What's the name of my company? I asked directly. Dead silence. They glanced at each other helplessly. None knew. No one had ever asked. I walked to the front door and opened it wide. Time for you to leave. Mom's jaw dropped. You're not even offering tea? I've done more for you than you ever did for me. At least I'm letting you leave with dignity instead of abandoning you on a doorstep with flowers. Mom flushed. They filed out, whispering heatedly in the driveway before driving away. I leaned against the door, their toxic energy gone. I expected retreat, but they persisted. Days later, Dad emailed a formal dinner invitation for Sunday pot roast. I deleted it. Brooke texted about shopping sales. Ryan emailed childhood photos with messages about missing old times. Mom left voicemails offering household items. I stayed silent. A week later, Mom came alone, looking smaller, pleading. Ava, please talk. I want to apologize. I know we've been unfair. Her sad eyes almost swayed me. My birthday is in 2 weeks. Just family dinner at home. I want you there to rebuild. Despite everything, she was my mother. I agreed. She hugged me, smelling of familiar perfume, stirring childhood memories. Cautious hope grew. Maybe they realized their mistake. I searched for the perfect gift, a silk scarf, navy with silver stars. Expensive, but meaningful. 3 days before Mom's birthday. As I finished a presentation at work, Aunt Valerie called excited. "So glad you made up. You're coming to her birthday party." My stomach sank. "Party?" She said, "just family dinner."
Oh,
She invited everyone.
aunts.
Uncles. Cousins. Wants to show we're one happy family again. Betrayal hit hard. It was never about us, it was performance. I returned the scarf. The saleswoman asked if anything was wrong. "It's perfect, just for the wrong person." Sunday arrived. I turned off my phone at 5. Grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, poured wine, and ate on the patio watching sunset paint my sanctuary golden. At 6:30. Curiosity 1. 15 missed calls. Voicemails. Texts. Mom's first, confused at 6:05. By 6:15. Impatient. Dad took over. "Your mother is upset. Get here now." "Ryan, get your ass over here." "Brooke." Everyone's staring. Embarrassing. I called Aunt Valerie back and asked for speaker. Rustling. Then distant voice. "You're on." "Hi, everyone. Mom told me this was just immediate family dinner. She lied to use me as proof we're happy. For 6 years. No invites to holidays or birthdays. Now pretending for face saving. I'm not coming. They chose long ago, now I choose." Murmurs grew. I hung up amid ringing phone. I silenced it. Poured more wine. Slept deeply that night. Monday brought lightness. Around noon. Gentle knock. Aunt Valerie with casserole. I brought lunch. Wanted to tell you what happened after. We sat at my kitchen table. After your announcement. Silence. Then questions poured. Uncle Ray asked Dad why no Christmas invite. Cousin asked about Thanksgiving. Mom claimed you were busy with work. Ryan said you never mentioned promotion. Someone asked your company. None answered. People left disappointed. By 8. Just your family with uneaten cake. Mom cried, claiming misunderstanding and equal love. But actions matter more. Valerie squeezed my hand. They weren't fixing things with you. Just their image. Over weeks. Attempts continued. Unknown numbers. Deleted emails. Voicemails erased. Even LinkedIn messages from Ryan. 3 weeks later. Childhood neighbor misses. Ellis at the grocery store mentioned Mom seemed sad about misunderstanding. It was a misunderstanding. 6 years excluded. I finally accepted it. I had no idea. Most didn't. But I'm happier now. My home became sanctuary. Career flourished with new client. I dated thoughtful Mark from book club. Life filled with people who chose me. Last weekend, Allison and her husband came for patio burgers and board games under string lights until midnight. No one questioned missing family. Nothing felt absent. Yesterday, my 33rd birthday. I took the day for spa. Returned to messages from friends. Jenna sent lilies. Cousin Elena sang off-key happy birthday. Mark brought cake. We watched a bad movie. My immediate family, silence. As always. This time, no checking phone or sting. I celebrated with consistent love. I once thought something was wrong with me. Some sin pushing them away. Years decoding mistakes to earn back in. Now I see. They decided I wasn't worth effort. I accepted that judgment too long. I know my worth now. Not by remembered birthdays or photos. I build traditions with chosen family who show up. Blood relatives keep their bubble. I keep authentic life where I matter. Honestly, better deal. The moral lingers when family rejects you repeatedly. Letting go can be the deepest self-love. Who we choose to belong with defines us more than birth. The story leaves you wondering, when does protecting your peace outweigh blood ties? Ava's journey shows sometimes the family we make is the one that truly heals.